right, welcome back to the newest episode of the Less of a Man podcast. This is episode, I don't even want to put a number on it.
Yeah, I don't think we should put any numbers on it right now.
Yeah, who knows what episode, because we flip flop so much, but
we just got a lot going on there.
we just released the one with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that we pushed her back 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that energy, man. That shows that we're so important that you have to wait for your stuff to come on. Like, I don't even know when your stuff is
coming out. It may be next week, it may be 3 weeks. We don't know. We got a lot going on.
I like that.
When we're ready. We will tell you when we're ready to release it.
I was like, 3 weeks. She was like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? I like that energy. I like it. So we need to have guests on and have them wait all the time.
Yeah, like, you'll see.
So we're going to start with our mental health check-in. EJ, you're always first. How's your mental health with the Tennessee Titans sweater on?
It is. Just repping my team as we are about to win our 6th straight game against the Steelers tomorrow. I'm doing okay. I'm finally done with my probation stuff. Hallelujah. So I don't have to mingle with the convicts anymore. I think this week went fast. I didn't feel like it was like I'm indifferent about the week, and I'm okay. Interested in seeing what we have to say about the topic today.
Okay. And one thing I'm going to say, man, I hate the fact that the people in the group who are not diehard fans are the one that's winning. So the diehard fans are the ones that are losing right now. And I have a problem with that, and I don't respect y'all. So speaking of somebody...
No, there's a difference between a diehard fan, meaning someone that rocks for their team, and someone that's really into sports. You're just really into sports. I've always rocked the Titans, and I will rock the Titans, even if they're as bad as the Jets. But anyway, you don't try to downplay my team and my, Titan nation.
Man, I don't think that, like, me and Raw are fanatics, and our teams are losing. And y'all too.
Because your team suck right now. So there's just nothing you can do about it.
I'm sorry, I don't know if people average 4.2 sacks per game per
Nobody has 4.2 sacks. That'd be great.
Not sacks, by the way. I'm sorry. I was like, I probably that high. You know what I'm trying to say. Exactly. My point is, don't get mad at me because I don't know the stats like that.
Yeah, exactly my point. Char's the resident Saints fan, so go ahead.
Okay. It's been a pretty busy week. A lot going on, I guess, in the Miller household. I had to sign all my paperwork for my upcoming start date of my job. We have a lot of renovations going on in the house. Bathrooms are being destroyed and rebuilt. Walls are being painted. Sinks are being replaced. Faucets are being replaced. There's a lot going on. So we have people in and out of our house this week. Other than that, pretty cool, pretty laid back. Yeah, that's all I got. Nothing else.
All right. I want you. Mike Thomas is killing my fantasy team, by the way. Raw, I guess the resident Jets fan. I guess we're gonna call everybody's out. How was your mental health?
Yes, I am the resident Jets fan. It's a little depressing right now, but it's been a busy week. I think last night was a night I had like the most sleep, and I was like only 4 hours. So yeah, tired. It's been a long week.
Jeez, 4 hours. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You gonna be able to stay up this whole time?
We'll try. Once Edward and Morgan don't go on a tangent, I should be fine.
Oh, that's gonna happen. So you just...
I'm tuning it out and just go to sleep.
We have been talking a lot this week, so I think we got all our system actually in terms of actually going back and forth. Although he did do a few things last night that kind of got on my nerves, but I'm gonna ignore that.
You talking about when he posted the picture and and then you were okay. That's it.
But before you go on your mental health check-in, is that not the equivalent of talking to Shamorg about most things? It's not accurate.
Right. Y'all two go back and forth all the time.
About everything.
everything.
The sky is blue. No, it's yellow.
Yeah.
No, it's aqua.
The problem is that Edward don't think that he's very. He don't think that he's very difficult to deal with sometimes. I guess I'll say it like
Oh
that.
no, I own that I'm difficult. I'm extremely difficult. I'm extremely anal. I have a particular way about plenty of things. I own that. Like you can say that about me all day, and I'll agree.
Okay, we cool.
All right, we agree with that. All right. So my mental health, of course, I'm the resident Falcons fan, since we're gonna do that. We won last week, and I kind of wanted us to lose because we're battling with the Jets for Trevor Lawrence, but that's a sports topic, and I don't want to get into that.
Y'all can have him.
Okay, I'll take him.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, can I do this for like 5 seconds?
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Because I'm just saying, realistically, you do need a future franchise quarterback because Matt Ryan is going to be done.
Yes,
Realistically, the Jets, if they get the first round, they get the number one pick, they need to trade out of the number one pick so that they can build more talent around Sam Darnold, like wide receivers,
Gotcha.
offensive line, stuff like that.
Everything.
Well, I think Perrion is actually going to be a pretty good running back, but yeah, everything.
Yes.
We just don't need, because if we get Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be another Sam Darnold situation because we're going to hire the wrong coach again, and he won't develop.
Agreed.
For more sports analysis, you should tune into the Third String Podcast, also hosted by Daryl Jones.
Yes, I was gonna. Yes, Third String Podcast is my sports podcast, so you can get all your sports topics. Maybe we should have Raw on there as well.
And also Miguel Lopez, shout out. I don't want to leave him out either.
Yeah, don't forget about my LB.
Yeah.
Anyway, my mental health is gonna lean onto this topic that we're gonna discuss, and like I don't like to use this word, but I'm gonna use it. All right, the worst type of nigga is the second. Let me say the second worst type is a woke nigga. The one that thinks they're smarter and more intelligent than everybody else. And like, I got more of it to this coming up week. And I don't know why they think that. I'm sorry, I hit my camera. I'm getting so intense. I was like, why do they think they done found the holy grail of knowledge that nobody else has? Like, I was talking to somebody and she was like, black people are all sheep. And because they vote for Democrats, they're all sheep. And I said, no. I was like, first of all, you talking to highly educated people who have master's degrees, PhDs, like who graduated top of their class. I was like, we're highly educated people, and you talking down to us to say we're so easily brainwashed. I said, maybe we vote Democrat because that's what we feel is the best party. Maybe it's just that simple. But why do you guys think that they think they have the holy grail of knowledge that just nobody else has? Like they found or something.
So I have something for that. Then if that's the case, then Republicans would be sheep too, because they're more likely to vote party line than anybody else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, but the funny thing about it is they're both sheep, because she's a sheep because she saw some things on Google and then followed that. Like she was like, she said Trump is a racist, Biden isn't racist. Trump has actually said and done racist stuff. Biden, you're still going to talk about the crime bill because that's the only thing you have to go to. But him being racist is theoretical. He you know what I'm saying? He said some stupid stuff, but he hasn't said racist things. So you're a sheep because you don't know.
Well, my thing is, believe what you want to believe and be as woke as you want to be. But don't you push your wokeness on me, is what kind of throws me off. It's like, don't think that just because you've learned, now your eyes are open all of a sudden that, I'm over here, eyes closed. No, congratulations. You now have an opinion to stand on, or some morals to stand on, or whatever you want to define it. But don't necessarily go ahead and push whatever you now all of a sudden believe for the past 5 minutes on me. So that's kind of what annoys me a little bit about it. So.
And then stun us if we don't believe, y'all don't know this knowledge. You need to.
I mean, do you say that's a woke person or just a person that really is just?
I call them woke.
Irresponsible. Because I don't like to put woke with people that are irresponsible with their platform or with the knowledge that they have, because woke to me is a person that really does understand, is able to relate to like things that influence or affect our community, like our community.
Well, the thing
Okay.
about I kind of disagree with you a little bit too, Edward, because I guess to say that someone woke is to imply that they were once asleep. I guess is kind of what throws me off, and like all of a sudden, like they were completely blind to everything in the world, and then this one moment happened where all of a sudden they kind of know what's going on. Because for someone to be woke, someone has to be not woke.
Right.
And the problem with that is that for the people that we consider to be unwoke, is the ones that apparently are lost or don't know what's going on. And not simply, maybe I just don't agree with you. And
Right.
it's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying?
But I
So,
disagree with you.
yeah.
Hold on. I disagree with you, EJ, is that I think it started as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Started as the knowledge and stuff, but it's been overused and everybody's doing it. And it's these people who think they're so much smarter than everybody. Like, I wanted to tell her, like, you're not smarter than me. Like, I read constantly. I'm at the top of my class. I have a master's degree. I read constantly. You can ask my wife. I read articles and stuff about this stuff constantly. I don't speak about stuff I don't know about. So like when she brought up Harris and her putting people to, like, I don't know enough of that to speak, so I don't speak about it. But then we had a friend of ours, a king, jumped in and he helped me out with it. But when you talk about, she was like, the 94 crime bill, and he hasn't apologized for it. What did I do? I sent her a link of Biden talking about it and apologizing and answering the questions. And she was like, well, he doesn't have a plan with police reform. He said he wasn't going to defund the police, and I'm mad at that. I said, true. He said that. He said he wasn't going to defund the police, but he said he was going to reform the police. Sent her a link, and she was like, I don't believe that. Like,
He actually said he would reform criminal justice.
yeah,
So, I mean, I'm confused. Does that not include the
no,
police system?
it's just that people, he actually says, I'm going to sit around with police officers, black people in the community, everybody, and we're going to come up with a plan. He says that, but that's not good enough for people. And she was like, that what threw me off about him. And I was like, but Trump ain't said nothing. I was like, the new black Trump supporter. Hold on, EJ, and I'm gonna let you talk.
Go ahead.
The new black Trump supporter is the one that all they do is dog out Harrison Biden, but they don't say anything about Trump. They just dog out Harrison Biden the whole conversation. So then when you say something about Trump, they're like, I'm not a Trump supporter, and you're like, no, everything you said points to you being the Trump supporter. Go ahead, EJ.
Right. Yeah. If you really we're talking about social justice and what Biden has said and what he said he's going to do and what Trump has said. Biden has had a plan in place for a very long time that's been on his website, 23-page long, basically outlining exactly what he wants to accomplish, how he wants to accomplish it. Whereas Trump has a 1-page document,
the Platinum Plan,
that's like some type of, like, I don't know, propaganda or suggestion of, these are some things that I might want to talk about, but nothing is clearly defined. And that's the thing that I hate about it. But when you say about woke and you describe them, I understand what you're saying and I get what you're saying. I completely agree that there are people that definitely mess up the term of woke and make it into something that's not. But when you say that, I want you to caution people say the same thing about Black Lives Matter. So we just got to be very careful when we think about things like that. People say all Black Lives Matter people because they see these pictures of people doing whatever or being whatever or rioting or looting, and now they completely associate that with that. So that's my skepticism of just putting all those woke people, which are aggressively woke, into that category that way. But I definitely agree with you.
I think it's the difference is I don't think like us intellectuals, I would think us four are intellectuals. I don't think we use woke anymore. I don't think like real like knowledgeable people use it anymore. I think the only people use woke are these extreme people who claim that they're woke. That's why I say it's a little different.
And also, why do you need to proclaim that I am woke? It's like, let's think about that for a second.
It's a way of proving that you're better. Like these people think that they're better. That's why I'm saying they think that they have the knowledge that nobody else got.
And I think and I'm glad you said that because there is a little bit elitism with it, where I am better than you. But not only that, what defines you as woke, particularly with our black culture? because we don't even have a definition of what our culture is per se, because it's not necessarily ingrained in anything. And I don't know if that makes sense, because think about the original culture that we had, as if we go back to our ancestors and whatnot, that culture was pretty much ingrained in some type of concept or belief or some type of background. Whereas as African Americans, we're trying to develop a culture that's pretty much not rooted in anything, which is why we get into arguments sometimes about the most simplest things that really truly doesn't have necessarily anything to do with defining on whether or not we're black or not. Think about the conversation we were having probably not during our first podcast, where we were like, if you don't eat collard greens, if you don't, joking around and stuff like that. Whereas, of course, we're jokingly saying that, but there truly are some people out there who really use that type of definition when it comes to defining whether or not someone is a better at being black or not better at being black. You know what I'm saying? So
Right,
that's
right.
kind of what makes it. I put that category only because we really don't have a defined culture and the guidelines of what our culture is. So I don't know if y'all.
No, it's
That's
so fluid and evolving that why are we arguing about it? Because it changes so much. Like, it's no defined this this is what it is, and maybe it should. But we kind of don't know what it is, but we're quick to argue what it isn't. Like we're very arguing. We're ready to attack whatever we feel isn't. And so that's what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I wanted to bring up cancel culture, which is our topic today, because of the back and forth I had on Facebook. Brought up this conversation about cancel culture. We have seen. So let me do it. The definition of cancel culture is a popular practice of withdrawing support for public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered offensive. Examples for people: R. Kelly, Roseanne, Kevin Hart tried to cancel Kevin Hart, Kanye West, Persept Michelle, Jussie Smollett, Tory Lanez, Bill Cosby. Companies that have done it, not only companies but entertainment entities. Gone with the Wind has been canceled. I don't know if y'all heard about that. They actually took it off of streaming services. Cops got canceled because Cops got canceled for me for the stupidest reason possible, because it depicted cops in positive light. I thought it was so stupid why it got canceled. If you're from Houston's, if you remember, T.I. Was a big campaign with T.I. in Houston's. Gucci, do we remember what Gucci did with the face mask that had the black face? H&M, the coolest monkey in the jungle. We seen that people have threatened the Washington football team. They have now changed their name from the Redskins, but when they had the Redskins, a lot of people were trying to cancel them as well. And the latest one, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo's the latest one. I don't know if it's a huge cancel campaign for Wells Fargo, but it's a cancel campaign in my household for Wells Fargo. So, my first question with you guys about cancel culture is, because we're going to get into the two biggest right now is Ice Cube and 50 Cent. So those are going to be the two biggest ones. But before we get into those, do you guys think canceling someone actually works? Like, do you guys think cancel culture is actually an effective tool? Does anybody want to go first? Char, you're moving your head.
I'll wait for everybody. I didn't want to go. I'll wait, but
okay. I'll go first. You go first.
You named a bunch of those items, and there are differences in each one of them. So some of the ones you named is justified in terms of canceling that particular item. But I think cancel culture is it's good on one end, but it's a very unforgiving concept. Because if someone could be as perfect as, think of giving things and being philanthropic and all those things, but they just do one thing that's considered bad for, the culture or whatever, then we want to start canceling it. So we don't necessarily have a barometer to measure if we should be forgiving that person, because if that person truly is remorseful for what they did, or if someone did something so horrendous that, okay, yes, you need to be canceled. Like two of the examples you brought up, Wells Fargo, Bill Cosby. They did some jacked up stuff. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, we probably should be focused on canceling it. But to bring up, other things that we try to cancel, like H&M. It was a bad marketing tool, but is it to the point to put all our energy toward not buying things there anymore? But what I'm saying, I know you're shaking your head there, but I'm not saying that it wasn't offensive. But the question we have to ask ourselves is, and I don't know or not, but does this company have a history of being offensive, or was it a situation where they just made a mistake based off of a marketing plan? I mean, it could be argued that if they had a Jamal or someone of black culture or someone who was black or of that was there that could have caught that and said, okay, you know what, dudes, we don't need to release this. That's debatable. But instead of canceling it, maybe they can start a bigger conversation of what that company can do to help become more inclusive and understand in different cultures and people in terms of what they may have found offensive.
All right, but let me say this. Let me say this, and I'll let y'all talk. First of all, yes, that's a huge problem because they don't have somebody of color in the boardroom. You don't have to be black, but somebody of color in the boardroom to pick up on this. For example, the Houston Rockets a couple of years ago, they were putting out for the Chinese calendar the Year of the Monkey, and soon as people saw it, they was like, no. I mean, they had these things. I believe they were putting them out on the seats before the game, and soon I think a player or I'm just gonna say James Harden saw it, and they was like, no. And as soon as they said it, they took everything back. But the problem is,
that's a Chinese cultural thing. So it's not offensive. It's
no,
actually a year of the monkey based off of Chinese culture. So that's what we
no,
got
That's
to
you
stop.
can't.
perception. That's
Huh?
You can't
perception.
do that
Yeah.
because no, Char, because a pig is just an animal. But in the context of culture, it's a negative, derogative comment to police. You can't do that.
So with this instance, I mean, you gotta understand your audience. So the NBA is predominantly a black league, right? So you
Yes.
just can't put out and your team and the team. I get it. It's a cultural thing, a Chinese cultural thing, but you can't put out the Year of the Monkey when most of your team is black.
And that's a
Yeah, you
derogatory
understand?
for
Doesn't
black
that
people.
So
fall
the
into the
derogatory
category
term
of
towards black
understanding
people.
woke or not?
So and I'm
No.
probably like one of the least offended people in this group, but there's always optics. Optics is always big. So you have to know the audience that you're playing to. Most people that watch the NBA are black. I mean, in the U.S. at least are black. So you're going to see that and be like, what the hell? Because most people don't know the Chinese zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
doesn't
so
that
I could ask somebody, what's your zodiac, your Chinese zodiac sign, and they wouldn't even know.
Okay,
I'm the
but
ox,
isn't
by
that
the
in a
way.
sense hypocrisy in a sense in terms of what we're saying? Now,
No.
I'm not disagreeing with something being offensive based off of your audience, but if we're asking people to have an understanding of what's our culture and what we believe, should we have the same thing when it comes to if we're going to have a situation where we want the NBA to represent Black History Month or represent Black Lives Matter to understand our what's important to us, we're not the only minority that lives here. There are other minorities, and that's what sometimes we fall into that category sometimes. And this may be me being just knowing that culture, like it's not only the year of the monkey. There's different years that goes along
The
with
year of the monkey.
Chinese
It
culture.
wasn't the year of
So
the
we
rabbit
can't,
or the year of the ox. It was
huh?
the year of the monkey or the tiger. It was the year of the monkey. So it being other years is relevant. At this point, it was the year of the monkey. No, and I think you're completely wrong in this situation. It's like we don't do things when we celebrate Black History Month. We're not offending anybody. Black Lives Matter isn't offending people. White people just took it because they want to be offended by it, but we're not offended by it. It's not something that we're doing that's offending other people. If we were doing something like that offended Native Americans, then we shouldn't do it, regardless of if that's our culture or not. Then we shouldn't do it. EJ, let me let you get in on this.
Yeah. Well, number one, the issue with corporate organizations, I think, should be handled differently than entertainers or sports individuals, because corporate organizations have been doing it for years. So no, you don't get to get a pass. You don't get to have one instance, especially when you have an entire group of people that are responsible for making sure the stuff that you put out is not offensive, and you choose not to hire Black people to be the voice of reason for a company that's supposed to be the most inclusive.
I mean,
That's
or
supposed
if
to
you
be
hire
the
a
most
black person and they're a yes man and just like go along with like
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, no, you don't get that pass because you clearly understand you're supposed to be the most inclusive. You're supposed to be the most progressive company in that particular light. So, no, there's no pass for you. And the only way that we're going to be able to have people understand that, look, you can't get away with that is if we say, no, this is a hardball. We're canceling you out. And you see what happened when that happened. The response was, okay, we need to change some things up. That's how we get things heard. That's how we get things changed in that respect. Now, as far as the year of the monkey, the United States is not China. We're not Chinese. That's not our culture. It's not majority of people here. There's one thing to celebrate that in a light where we're celebrating the Chinese culture in that year, but that's something that's offensive. So the way you put it out has to be has to be more intentioned and has to be more thought out. We can't just use things that are offensive to one person and just like think that okay, because it's associated with another culture, it's all right. It's not okay.
But
In the
American
United
culture
States,
is Chinese culture.
the history of
But
monkey is
but you gotta
not a positive
understand.
thing for Black people. It is
But
just
you
like
understand more.
that's just
They
like for Native Americans, the history we should have been done with the Redskins a long ass time ago. That's been offensive to Native Americans for a very, very
for a
long
long
time.
time.
We should have gotten rid of all sports that have. I went to a school where it was the Indiana University of Pennsylvania. It was the Indians, and then they changed a bear to name Cherokee. So they used to have a Cherokee guy, like tribal Cherokee people come in and do dances at their games. Then they changed it to a bear named Cherokee. Now they're the Crimson Tide or Crimson Heat or Tide or something like that. Those kinds of things should have been changed because they're offensive to an entire culture that is a part of the United States.
But
You have to understand the audience.
you don't see the difference between a team that's called the Washington Redskins and a Chinese culture that have one of their years being the year of the monkey. You don't see
Now
how
Yeah,
my
different.
question to you is
saying, and
more:
that's where you're
was
completely
that
forgetting it.
was that the first time they used a Chinese zodiac to promote anything? That's the thing. If they were doing it from the beginning, like say they started with the year of the ox, the year of the rat, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then went into the year of the monkey, then you'll understand like, hey, they've been doing it for a while. This is what they do. They want to at this time of the year, they represent this culture at this time. So now it's understandable when you do the year of the monkey. Now, if you jump straight into the year of the monkey,
Yeah.
there's a slight problem. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but your optics are not great.
Well,
When you have
Roland,
a
can I ask you a question? I
sure,
know they don't have this, but would they ever do Year of the Pig? Do you think
you
they
said
would
what?
ever do Year of the Pig?
No,
Why?
Hold on one moment.
For tops, right?
yeah. No,
So
it's my same instance with you. Is the same thing that I'm saying with Shar is that if they started out with saying the year of the tiger, wherever the first zodiac sign is,
right,
and then they
right,
kept going it, then everybody will understand. But you can't just jump into one thing that Tory there's criticism to other people
right.
and expect it to be okay, especially when your league is predominantly black. Your
Right.
players are predominantly black. Now, if you had started when Yao Ming was there, and you were like, okay, we're going to celebrate his culture because he's very big on his culture. We all know that. Then that'd have been different. We all understand why you're doing it. And he was very instrumental on your team and in your community,
Right, right,
but you didn't. You just
right. So
did it.
let me get
Hey,
back to the question. Go ahead,
I
Charmin.
want to say one thing about this because this is kind of my problem with it. It could have been a situation where someone could have considered it to be offensive, but it was also an opportunity for people to explain that it is part of another culture. Because the problem I feel that a lot of us have is that we're so quick to get offended without trying to understand the reason why we may or might not be offended. We stop at being offensive and then never do the analysis of thinking, well, maybe there's not a reason to be offended. In a situation with that, in my opinion, I feel like that's where we kind of fall short of saying, oh, my bad, this is not actually something that's offensive toward me. This is part of someone else's culture. That's different from Redskins in terms of changing the name when we know the negative history associated with that particular name in terms of the culture of our country. But that's
This is why
different because we're not just in America. It's just not black and white. There are so many other cultures that make up this country that we can't just focus on our own, and we have to go ahead and focus on other people that are part of this nation. And that's just my opinion sometimes.
no, this
But
is why
Morg,
you can't sit here and talk about the Redskin history, but not talk about the history of a monkey to
But
black people. You
that's
but
can't.
that's
Morg,
also true. But but you can't take every monkey situation and apply it to black people because there are other. It's not because it's also other cultures where that's not a negative context. That's all I'm
but
saying. I'm not saying that it's
Morg.
not it can come across as offensive as originally seeing it, but it
Okay,
also
so
encourages others to expand beyond just being automatically offended and understand other cultures as well. That's all I'm
Why do
saying.
you understand other cultures? If you're
I
gonna be
get
mad,
I
be
get what
mad
you're
at white
saying.
people. If white people ruin that, so be mad at
I
them. Don't
get
be mad at black
I get
people.
what you.
I'm not mad at black people. I'm not saying if someone walks in there and see it, that they won't think that's offensive. I agree with y'all. But what I'm also saying is that it should be a point that we don't, that every image that we have, that we automatically go to being offended, and also take an effort to go ahead and understand other cultures. And I think sometimes we want people to understand us, but we don't want to take the effort of understanding other cultures as well. And I think that's something
Okay,
we need to kind of focus on as well.
Go
okay,
ahead,
so
Vaughn. We
I'm
gotta
gonna
move
go
on.
with you. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Now, if that was a plan, someone should have said, you know what? Let's hold off to next year and start it next year with the
Right.
year of whatever it was going to be. I personally don't care about it, but you have to think about your optics. That's the whole thing. Being a company is all about your optics. If your optics don't look good to the public, you won't sell. So you have to be conscious of every minority in your area, in your group. So yes, you want to celebrate the Chinese New Year. Start it the next year. Start it the next year, whatever year it is, and continue it that date every year. And when it gets back to the year of the monkey, no one will be offended because you know why? You've been doing it so long, or you've been had a plan in place for so long that everybody understands. Well, at this time of year, we celebrate the Chinese zodiac.
Right.
And you
All
talk
right.
about the Russian Redskins, it's like, okay, yes, the Redskins, their name has been fought for so long to be changed by Native American groups that it so happened it took all this happening now for it to be changed. But nobody cared when it was just Native Americans fighting to get that name changed. They don't try to
Right.
change Florida State's name because it symbolizes the Seminoles, the only Native American group that was not conquered.
Don't you think that's the bigger issue than the one that we were talking about earlier?
All right. We gotta move
No,
on.
I
We gotta
think
move on.
that the. Go ahead.
We gotta move on. We can't spend this whole time talking
I
about
know,
this.
but I just wanted to
Oh,
say this one thing in regard to that. I think that it's important that people well, first of all, for black people, for so long, black people said nothing and they took a lot and they did not say what they felt was offensive to them. They just kind of played along with it for such a long period of time. I think it's important that we let people know what is offensive to us. Now, I don't think that every single thing that's done should be considered offensive, but there are things that are a part of our history that we don't want to continue to see imagery of. Monkey is one of them. We don't want to see that. Like, that's just not something that we want to see because of the negative connotation. I don't care if you are trying to just like throw something out with a monkey on it and put a kid in it, and not only put a kid in it, put a black kid in it. That isn't a great decision. I don't think that with this whole situation where they're putting a monkey on whatever they were going to put on the seats, that obviously isn't a great decision either. There's a way to go about doing things and including other cultures, and the way that some of these things are being done are not in a way that is consciously or socially aware or conscious. And you have to be that particular about how you are putting things out in public as a company.
right. And so the
But I
question
guess my bigger point to that is that falls into the
we have to
same.
move on from this
Well, I
topic.
know, but this one more thing. It falls into what we're talking about for this conversation in terms of being woke and how woke and determining what's cancel culture and what's not cancel culture.
All right. So what I'm saying is the question is, do you think canceling someone actually works? My answer to that question is yes and no. It works for who we want it to work for, and it doesn't for who we don't. So Kanye West should have been canceled. Kanye West should not be selling albums. He should not be selling clothes. He should not be selling shoes for all the stuff that he's doing that is very dangerous. Yet he's still doing it. Somebody
That's
for
because we make excuses for him. We say he has a mental health issue.
Everybody on this list, we make excuses for. Tory Lanez, we made excuses for. R. Kelly made excuses for. Bill Cosby made excuses. No, we four might have not made excuses, but people on this list, people make. That's what I'm saying. Chrisette Michele, all she sung, and she said, "I wanted to sing so people can understand. Black people understand. This is how we look. This is how we sing." And we shut her down. Like she ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? Gucci, it was a time period. H&M is a time period. You know what I'm saying? Now they're back wearing Gucci. So does it work? Yes, and the answer is yes and no. But my question is, do you guys think cancel culture is getting out of control? And then, Charlotte, let me start with you with that.
I guess it goes. Well, yeah. I mean, it depends. I think it depends on the situation. I think it gets out of control is because we want to cancel everything that comes across that may be offensive. So we've gotten to the point that we don't know how to differentiate from the things that truly impact our culture to the things that we really shouldn't be focused on. Like the fact, like Chrisette Michele, I remember when that happened. It was no different than her probably booking a gig. It probably came across and at that point, Trump was still saying things, but it was nowhere near as extreme as it is now. But of course, because she did that, we just jumped to conclusions and start saying, okay, let's cancel her. But I think it could work if we focus on the things that we need to focus on and not just react to every single thing that can come across as offensive. Because at the end of the day, we live in America. And if we really want to decide what we want to be offended by and not, then we wouldn't be able to do anything. Because especially living in the South, the schools we attend, the places we go, all the schools that we have some type of racial history where they were doing the wrong thing at some point. And if we were to use that to justify whether or not we should attend those schools, even HBCUs, we would not be associated with them. And that's kind of what we got to think about sometimes when we decide whether or not we want to cancel something.
I mean, I agree and disagree with you with this opinion because if something is named after a Confederate general, then it should be changed. I don't really care about none of that. I don't like that should be changed. Stone Mountain. I'm from Stone Mountain. Those Confederate monuments should be changed. So I agree with you, but not to an extent. But EJ, let me let you get in on this.
I think that we do need to have more direction, and if we're going to cancel someone, I think that it needs to be like a unified front. I think when it doesn't work is when we have people that are doing the cancel culture on that particular, entertainer or company, but then you have a whole other segment of people that continue to support them. The issue with the Chrisette Michele thing, I think, is not so much that she's saying, it was the timing. Like, he had already said so much stuff. You're going to go and try to say you're not in support of him, but you being there is support of him because it was his event. So I think the timing of that really was not what people wanted to see at that time. So therefore, she was canceled. Now, is there redemption for her? Yes, but for other people, I feel like it's very different.
But is there redemption for her because she put out an album right now? Nobody was supporting. Kanye West said something, and he just said that he was a billionaire or something. Like I think that because we don't really, as a fan base, like her as much, that it was easy to cancel her. But somebody like Kanye West, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't canceled. We're still supporting him.
The thing is with Kanye West though is that his audience isn't just black people. So
black people are supporting.
Black people like him though.
There are black people that support him. Yes, there are black people that support him. There's still black people that support Chrisette Michele. Her genre of music is already. I know, but what I'm saying is you got to think about the audiences. The audiences of Chrisette Michele will only be black people because Chrisette Michelle's target is black people because of her genre of music.
But we're the ones
Kanye is a crossover artist that has not. If black people canceled him, he still has enough white people and everyone else that he can still stay afloat. So yes, people are still supporting him. I personally don't. I haven't liked him for a very, very long time. Since well before he got with Kim K and married her. Like, he said some crazy things, so I haven't really been, and I know a lot of people that don't, but I think you also have to think about the audience of why he's still relevant.
Okay,
Right.
so the whole Chrisette Michelle thing, as I believe, what it is was a lot of black artists were turning down singing at his event. So, do I agree with her being canceled? No, because it's like booking a gig. It's like one more said, booking a gig. You might not like what you're doing, but you got to get paid at some point. Now, does it decrease your integrity? I don't think in that aspect it did. And like, she came out and was talking about, she going to support him, or she start traveling around the country singing at all his events. It was one event. Then Kanye West, he's worn a MAGA hat. He's talking about being in support of Trump.
Being a slave was a choice.
Right. Being a slave is a choice.
Government didn't do anything.
So
college dropouts go hard, though. You know what I'm saying?
but
College dropouts go hard.
it do go hard. But I'm just saying, like, yes, he will still be fine if the black culture canceled him because he's crossover. But how many people on the other side will still support him, though? You understand? It's like, we're the ones that majority buy his albums. We're the ones that buy the Yeezys. I still want a pair of Yeezys though, because they seem like, people keep telling me they're really comfortable, so I just want to see.
They're comfortable, but they're trash. They're trash.
I just want to see. I like the sneaker ones. But anyway.
See what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Right there.
I'm not saying I was going to cancel him.
No, the problem is, what EJ is saying is we have to make a sacrifice. And we have to be willing.
We always have, but that's the thing. We don't want to make sacrifices. Like with Gucci. Yes. We also wear Gucci because we want to.
I have not bought Gucci in a long time.
Whatever. I got a pair of Gucci slides and a pair of Gucci.
Let's
see. But hold on. But one thing with Gucci is we're not going to stop wearing Gucci. We're not going to stop wearing Yeezys because those are seen to be things of high standard. Mm-hmm. And we always want to look in high standard. No matter what that person did or said, majority of us want to be in that high standard of wearing this Gucci and all that stuff. So we can't high standard. It is the low end, but for black people, we can't afford all the other stuff. We're gonna go for the low end, like some Louis Vuitton and shit, like stuff like that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. You got me off my track, man. Anyway, you got me off my track.
No, the thing is, though, you're saying that first of all, I can't. Okay, go ahead.
We're going to cancel people that are easy to cancel.
Yes.
We're going to cancel people that are easy to cancel, like Chrisette Michelle, easy to cancel.
Easy
Kanye,
to cancel. Yeah.
Not easy to cancel. R. Kelly, not easy to cancel, although he should be easy to cancel because he's been proven a rapist.
Around the board, our view on R. Kelly should be around the board, but I'm shocked at how many people
still stand up for him.
Yeah, I'm shocked at that. The thing is, go ahead, Sharp.
But I guess based off of that, this is an interesting question. Is there black privilege amongst black folks in terms of, just like we talk about white privilege, is there things that amongst our people that certain people get away with just because of who they are, and then we just choose not to cancel them because we just like that we like that chocolate factory.
No, and it's not only black. It seems to me black males, and I'm gonna make this. It seems like black women are easier to cancel than black men, and I say that, of course, being a black male, but it's like Kanye West took her, like, we got her out of there. It ain't nobody defending her. I haven't seen anybody defend her. But if I go Kanye, like I was watching Joe Budden podcast, and they was talking about, well, Kanye released an album, would you listen to it? And all of them said yes. And I'm shocked at that. I have not listened to a Kanye West album in years. I don't buy Yeezy. I don't support Kanye West. I don't do anything for him. I don't first of all, I can't boycott Gucci because I never bought Gucci to begin with. So I can't support something I never, you know what I'm saying? I can't boycott something I've never supported. But we got to sit here and make this sacrifice. There's high end other companies other than Gucci. There's other music. Kanye West music's not even good. Like to
Anymore.
even listen
anymore.
to anymore. Right. Anymore. It's not even good to listen to. The Yeezys are hideous. Now they might look comfortable, but they're hideous. So to sit here to say these things are not even good and we still support them. Like that's the mentality that I get. The problem is cancel culture should be a checks and balances. It should be you guys want to sell to us, but you don't understand our culture and you do these things to offend our culture. It's a checks and balances, but we pick and choose when to use that check and balances. So I want to talk about a specific person now, since you're talking about privilege, Shar. I want to talk about Ice Cube. Ice Cube did the contract with Black America. He presented it to both sides, the Democrat and Republican Party. He said, I'm gonna say what he said, and then I'm gonna say what actually happened, and let y'all go. He said that the Democrats wanted to talk about it after the election, and the Trump campaign sat down with them and changed some things about the Platinum Plan, which is their plan for Black America. This is what actually happened because he went on CNN and told the actual story. The story was that he made it seem at first as Joe Biden's camp just brushed him off and said, we'll deal with it after the election. No, they said, we like everything in this plan. Let's discuss it after the election. So they didn't brush him off like he at first said, but people have attacked Ice Cube about even meeting with Trump. Does he deserve to be canceled? Who wants to go first?
Well, let's first of all clear off one thing. He didn't even meet with Trump. He didn't even meet with like a top representative of Trump's campaign. Right. He met with like a peon of Trump's campaign. So,
true.
Are you really like, you know what I mean?
True. So I'm sorry if I made it seem like he met with Trump. No, he didn't meet with Trump. He met with his camp, but not Trump. But does Ice Cube deserve to be canceled? Who wants to go first? EJ, you want to keep going since you were
I can go. I don't think Ice Cube needs to be canceled. Like, I don't feel like there's a cancellation. I think he needs to be scolded because of what he said and how he's gone about the whole way of his contract. I think his contract, if I'm looking at it as a Black person, I think it's great, right? Do I think it's fine? Do I think it's feasible? And do I think it's going to get passed through the House and then the Senate? Absolutely not. Also, another thing is I think that because some things are unconstitutional, like based on exactly putting things away specifically for Black people that, like things like that would not go through our Constitution unless there's some act of God where the House and Senate defy, it's like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it.
They care about Black people all the time.
Right, they have to care about Black people. I think that there are a lot of things that are in his plan that are similar to what Biden has in his particular document. There's absolutely nothing that has changed in Trump's agenda from what was on his contract. So I think that he needs to be scolded like, don't try to act like you're the only person doing something for Black people. Like his whole argument was that he doesn't see anyone trying to like be the pioneer. No one's out there doing anything. And they literally brought on people that are part of grassroots organizations that have been trying to get laws passed very similar to some things that were in his contract that were passed through the House, that are sitting at the feet of the Senate. And he basically just like completely disregarded that the work that they've been doing for all along, after the election, during the election, after the election. So to me, he kind of just needs to be like, you kind of just need to give him like a that, but not a cancel.
All right. What about you, Shar?
I mean, the Ice Cube situation to me is such a complex concept. It's a millionaire Black guy trying to tell somebody what to do for other Black folks who that do not live the lifestyle that he lives. So it's kind of weird that, you have a celebrity that doesn't recognize you being used by being used by a team that needs Black people's attention. Mm-hmm. That although his intention is to help his people, he don't realize that talking to someone who don't have his people interests in mind is a good thing. I understand where his frustration comes from because there's probably a lot of Black individuals out there who just don't believe that neither party can do anything that's going to improve their lives. So I can see where his frustration comes from. He's just not the best person to deliver that message. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what happens in terms of who get elected or not, his life really is not going to change one way or the other. So the way he came at us in terms of that we need to be accountable and kind of blaming black folks for stuff is a little insulting also. But at the same time, I get where his mind's at. He just needs to hand it off to somebody else that's that has a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more education, and knows how to deal with this, and just pass the baton and let them take care of it. And just be the celebrity and just promote, speak your opinion, use your platform, let the educated people take care. Like let the people who educated in these and how this works handle that. Is what I'm saying.
All right, Rob, what about you?
Well, I kind of agree with Morge. I mean, he has good intentions, bad delivery. That's what it was. It was like, I don't see a problem with him meeting with the Trump camp to try to push certain things to help, but you also got to take in mind they're probably going to take it with a grain of salt, and so you have to be strategic about what you do, and then you got to be educated. You got to have the people that actually know this platform, this field, to actually take control and push it out there. Yeah, you can promote it, being that your platform is large, and it would definitely help the cause. But you just can't sit down and write something that you don't know much about.
Right. I think that this, surprisingly for this episode, that I agree with Shar in this. It's probably the first thing that we agree with. I think his heart was in the right place. I think he's trying to do something great for black people, but he doesn't know how policies and stuff get done. And it's cringy. And you brought it up, Shar. The last part about black responsibility was kind of cringy for me. Like that needed, like, yes, master, we want all this and we promise to be good black folk. And it's just like that part of it is just like, was really cringy. But to sit here and say that, hey, we're not getting done. So guess what we need? We need another black celebrity to save our soul. Like, for us to bypass, like what you said, Edward, the leaders that we have. And I just think that he doesn't understand policy. He doesn't understand the government. He doesn't understand how things get done. And it just kind of made us look worse. It made us look more divided. And also he was used as a puppet. He was used as a puppet. And he allowed himself to be used as a puppet because he doesn't know what he is doing. Now, his plan is great. I want him to do it. And people got to understand that just because somebody gets elected, the work doesn't stop. You can still demand your stuff from them. So even Biden saying, let's talk about it afterwards. If he gets elected, hopefully he gets elected, we could still demand stuff even when he gets elected. It just doesn't stop there. But so many people are thinking like this is the end all be all. But speaking of people I think who deserve to be canceled, 50 Cent made a comment. And 50 Cent basically said, let me see, I had it pulled.
You sitting up for this, Brian?
Yeah.
50 Cent said, what the fuck? Vote for Trump. I'm out. Fuck New York. The Knicks never win anyway. I don't care. Trump doesn't like black people. 62%. Are you out of your fucking mind? He was talking about the Joe Biden plan and how it basically increases taxes on people making over $400,000. So, and this is what started this conversation because I made a post about this. And what makes this comment so dangerous is not that he taxed 62%. I think a lot of us would be upset if we're taxed 62%. That's not my issue. My issue is that he says, even though Trump is racist, I want you to vote for him because it helps my money. Not that it helps you guys' lives. It might hurt y'all, but please vote for Trump because it helps me. So what do y'all think about 50 Cent? Because I think he should have probably been canceled before this. And this goes into our topic because he made a disparaging comment about black women a couple months ago. But this also goes into our topic because we like power. We're not going to take that. We're not going to cancel him just because we like to show power. It ain't about his music because his music is trash anyway. But we like to show so much that we're going to say, we can get by this. So I wanted to say, what do you guys think? Shar, you're shaking your head, so I'll let you go first.
I mean, for me, 50 Cent's been saying things for years that's offensive. So that wasn't the first thing he said. And I just, like, to your point, I think we just, because we like power, because we like get rich and or die trying, that, those, because we love those
That's
things.
one album. He had one album that
I
we.
that one album, that's what I'm saying. But like, I mean, that was my college album. I mean, it don't, but but still, because of that, we don't want to cancel him, or we don't want, because he's, from our perspective, he's pushing up the culture. He's showing what we perceive what black people should be in a good light. So because of that, we don't want to let go of him yet, because we feel like he's still a good thing for our people,
Right.
even though everything he says and his intentions are to support and uplift himself at all costs, even if it means leaving your people behind. And that's where I guess I get confused sometimes in terms of, just tell me what the rules are. Tell me where to show up for the revolution. Tell me who we should, you know what I'm saying? If you give me those rules, I'm gonna roll with you. But when I see hypocrisy where we, like you say, cancel Chrisette Michelle, but then we're gonna stick with 50, I don't know which way to go with y'all. Like, I need some rules that we can be consistent with. So that's kind of, I don't
Yeah,
know.
because when I even posted about it, you had a few people that said, I'm still going to watch Power. And I thought that was interesting that they even had to express that. That they even
Yeah.
had to say, instead of just them watching Power, they had to express on I'm going to watch it. And it's just, like you said, I don't know what black people want. I don't know the rules. And this is what makes me frustrated. Raw, when you want to jump in on this? Since you want to defend your New Yorker, go ahead.
He stood up for the, he raised up for the
Actually,
one.
Yeah.
actually, I'm still gonna watch Power because he's a very small part of Power. But anyway,
He's the producer. Executive
So
producer.
you're going to
but
wear
he's.
Kanye, you're going to wear Gucci, and you're going to watch Power. So Raw's not in the
I
revolution.
mean, we can get rid of him as a producer and keep it moving. But anyway, that's not my point. Now
He still will
to the
make
62.
movies because it was his show that he started.
Oh,
So you're still.
okay.
I mean, he had he wrote the opening song to the to the
No,
show.
Raw doesn't care about that. Go ahead, Raw.
Get this child.
If this is what's going to take y'all to cancel 50 Cent after everything that he said in the past, it's crazy. Like
Well,
when he's made sex tapes with people's baby mothers and put it out there and put songs out there.
Yeah,
He's talking about black women. He's talking about black women. He's talking about
right.
minorities in a despairing way. This is what's going to take y'all to cancel 50 Cent because he says he's going to vote for Trump to secure his money. That's
not me.
Oh,
that's millions of people in the United States at this point because rich people do not want to pay that amount of money to do anything for anyone.
But here's the problem with that.
They want their money and they want to be happy. We are selfish people, period.
But Raw,
So we will do anything to secure the bag. Everybody wants a bag. Everybody wants to secure the bag. Everybody wants to make sure they have. I don't have a Gucci bag, so no. Everybody, I cut it at the Dax. They want, everybody wants to secure their money for their kids and their kids and kids, whatever. So no one wants to pay 62%. It's not really 62%, by the way, but whatever. So with that, putting a plan in place where people are going to pay higher taxes because it's really supposed just to go back to the taxes pre-Trump, which is 39.6%, but which is definitely not 62%. But if it was 62%, that's a ridiculous amount for anybody,
Yeah, but
but
that's
Raw,
even for the
here's the
least.
problem,
But,
Raw. Not all of us have 50 cents money, and not all of us
no,
are millionaires like he is. So, granted, if you want to secure your bag, by all means, secure your bag. I don't have a problem with it. Be you. But
but
if you want to,
$400,000 isn't a lot of money either.
but here's the thing though, he's a
okay.
So
Go to the
if
hood
celebrity,
and tell that then.
huh?
huh?
Go to the hood and say that.
No, I mean, you gotta understand what I'm saying. In money terms, $400,000 is not a lot of money. You're
yes,
still
yes,
Well,
it is.
you're
well,
higher
let's
middle
say
class,
that.
No,
but
you're not higher
you're
middle
not,
class.
but you're not rich.
Yes,
But
you are.
None of us making
Four hundred
$400.
thousand dollars doesn't make you rich.
not rich.
$100,000 is
You
not
upper
middle
middle
class.
class.
It's
You
You're
upper
not
upper
middle
middle
class.
class. You are not rich. $400,000 is not a lot. That's not changing
That's
much.
a year, not one. Not
I
that's
get
every
what
year.
$400,000 a year means, but that doesn't make you rich.
But I think, okay, I would say this: if you can tax that amount of money and you making $400,000 a year, that kind of knocks you down a good bit. So I get
Yeah,
what you're
it knocks you down to basically what I make a year, what I
Yeah,
can
but
make a
that's
year.
not the
I
argument.
think we're missing the point here.
Talking point, but that's not the argument. The
That's not
argument is
Yeah.
that he says that fuck that Trump is racist, still protect me. That's the
Yeah.
argument.
Because we're selfish people.
But
We are
that's
selfish.
but here's the
That's the
difference.
problem. That's the thing you're not getting. Like, you have so much faith in humanity thinking that, oh, we're going to do the right thing.
No, I don't.
When you start fucking with people's money, people don't give a fuck about anything else
But here's the
because
thing,
they
boss.
want to keep their money. You want
This
to
is what I
keep
have
your
to
money.
say.
You want to make money so that your kids will be okay in the future. You don't care about anybody else's children. You care about yours. That's it. You care about you and your family, and that's it. Fuck the kids.
All
Fuck the
right.
other
The
kids.
kid.
Hold on. We got to get this back on track. First,
Well,
I just
Yeah.
want to say this, then Shard and EJ can go. We're the ones that help make 50 Cent the money that he's making. So if you're going to like try to hurt us in the process, then it is our right to hurt you. Shard.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not our right to hurt it.
You pretty much said what I believe. Like, granted, like I said, if 50 Cent's going to do whatever you want to do, go ahead, do it. I'm not judging that. Like, I'm not judging that part. What I'm judging is your influence on culture.
Mm-hmm.
And although what you're saying, because you're saying something that doesn't impact you, but impacts so many other people. So granted, if you want to follow whatever rules, tax bracket, or whatever you want to follow, if you want to do that, fine. But don't think that we're on the same level and that what you're saying is not going to impact the millions of people that either follow you or believe what you want to believe. So you have a responsibility from the perspective of making sure that you protect the people who buy your albums, or protect the people who watch your show. Like, you have to have their best interest at heart, because at the end of the day, they're making him rich. So it's a dumb business move from his perspective to do that. Why would you try to alienate the people who own feet that make your pockets bigger? But more importantly, just give
So
back.
his pockets already big. He has other companies besides Power and all the other stuff. He's
So
already made
we
money.
don't watch it then.
But it's still we're still
So
looking here. So he's
yeah,
no. If we're gonna be mad
okay,
at H&M,
but
you need to be mad
so
at
let me
50,
ask you. So
and
let me
that's
ask you
the
a
point.
question. With all the stuff that other people have done, and we still support them, like we still buy Gucci, we still buy H&M, people still bank at Wells
You
Fargo.
still buy Gucci.
Yeah.
You
When I say we, I'm talking in general.
because
I'm talking
Daryl
in general.
buy Gucci.
I'm talking in general. So it's not. That's the thing. Is we focus on us four will focus on what he's saying, but other people won't because they're going to see it the same way that he does. They're going to see, okay, yeah, he makes money, but who will want to pay 62% in anything
Yeah, if
in
you
taxes?
focus on that, and you
So
focus on the wrong thing. You're focusing on the
and
talking.
that's the thing, and that's what made him say that he's going to vote for Trump because he doesn't want to pay 62% on taxes, 62% in taxes.
No,
That
we can all agree that's a ridiculous amount, but that's just a right wing talking point. That's not what
what
we're actually debating. We're debating the fact that he's saying vote for somebody, even though if it hurts you, protect me. That's the part. The 62% isn't the argument. EJ,
right.
get it on this. Are you not?
number one. He is influential. Period.
Yes.
A lot of like the gay culture in the United States has canceled him a majority. I will say people still look at Power, but anything else, the majority of gay culture has canceled him because he continuously makes homophobic remarks. Period.
Yeah.
So I've not supported 50 Cent for a very long time. He's not only said stuff about gay people, he's also said stuff about women that is degrading. He said stuff about Vivica Fox. He said stuff about was it Rick Ross's baby's mom.
Baby
He's done a
mother.
lot of crazy stuff. So for me, he's not a redeemable person, doesn't have a redeemable quality. He's a piece of shit, honestly, if you ask me. The issue that I have with him is that he's influential and he's not even being transparent about what the plan is to make a statement to say that you should support me. You are trying to create mass pandemonium for people to support you. No, they're not taxing 62% of your income at all.
Nope.
At all. That's not what the plan is. But you want to make it to seem that way. That's dangerous. Number one, that's dangerous. Number two, we're the people that are supporting you. So you don't give a fuck about us, and we're not able to live. You're not going to have anything either. So what you really should be focusing on is how's it going to impact the people that need to continue buying your products and looking at your shows and going through all your branding stuff and thinking about how are you going to keep the longevity of your companies and organizations. That's a problem. Number one.
But most of his companies are crossovers.
No, he's not that much of a crossover. He
But
really
he's still going to be fine.
The majority of people that support 50 Cent are black people.
But here's the question, Rob.
Number 4,
Okay.
why do you even have to say that? Just say you're going to support Trump. Like, why do you have to create that? Like, also with what's going on, like, what was the point of saying all the other shit? Like, just, if you support him, and just, that's it. Because obviously it's not really just going to be about the money if you're supporting him. Because then it also is a reflection of your moral compass. Like, with all the shit that he's said about black people, with all the shit that he's done, with all of that, and you still think, okay, support him because of my money, that means you're a fucked up human being. So that's kind of how I feel about 50 Cent.
But that's a lot of rich people. Rich people got rich off the
because
poor.
you have T.I. T.I. is not like that. T.I. is definitely owned Biden and Harris. You have a lot of other people that are just about as rich as him that are still voting for Biden and Harris. So it makes no sense what you're saying.
Then you have other people that are not. You got the check and like we talk about check and balances. You got the people that are still going to vote for Biden and Harris that are rich, but then you still have other people that are rich as well or richer that are still going to vote for Trump. That's what I'm saying is rich people got rich off of the backs of poor people. What would make you think they care about poor people? That's the concept. Yeah, you should care about your other human beings in the world. But how many of us do?
That's true.
I guess to me, Rob, I mean, granted, as I advance in life, I'm definitely not where I was, but I'm definitely not where I want to be. But as I continue to advance, I will always vote based off of where I come from and not where I am. Because just like me coming up and having a struggle, there's somebody else also coming up and needs to struggle. So I will always vote to make sure that they have everything in place for them to be able to get to where they want to go. And I feel like people like T.I., they should do the same thing. That even though their lifestyle displays one thing, they should always vote based off of what it took for them to get there in terms of struggle that they start from. And a lot of people don't do that, and that was his problem. He wasn't thinking about.
That's also the thing. We go back to what I'm saying. It's like, okay, we talk about them knowing where you come from, but how many people put back into the areas that they come from? You know what I'm saying? So we want to bash him for what he's saying, and I mean, by any means don't think that I agree with what he's saying. But I'm also a realist, and I understand that there are people out there that think just like him because they want to secure and keep what they have and fuck everybody else. So he came from an impoverished neighborhood. He came from poverty, but now he's rich. Some people forget where they come from. Some people don't care about where they come from or who they were around when they were younger or what happened to people, what they saw people going through when they were younger, when they were poor, when they went through stuff. Now it's like, I got mine, fuck you. Get yours, however you get it.
Right.
That's what he's looking at. That's how his mentality is at this point. It's like, you know what? I'm going to vote for the person that's going to keep me rich. I don't care about you coming up trying to be rich after me. I did it. You can do it. Figure it out. I'm not going to help you do it.
That's a right.
I'm going to keep mine.
Let's go back to
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like we want people to think the way that we think, but not everybody thinks the way we think. And they're not going to think the way we think. So Yeah, if this is what it was going to take to cancel him, we should have canceled him years ago.
But that's the question I
When he
guess that
said other things that were more damning to our community.
Right.
We
Go ahead.
argued
Go ahead,
for
Sean. We'll move on. Go ahead.
I guess that's what Daryl asking. Why won't we cancel him? If we know,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, in terms of like why are we like why aren't we as a people canceling based off of what's best for us and not just because we'll focus more energy on trying to get going with the wind off the air, but not as much energy for not supporting
And
50
the
Cent.
point was, we don't even watching Gone with the Wind like that. Like,
well,
to
That's the point. That's the point right there. It's easy to cancel
it's easy
things
to
that are
cancel Gone
easy
with
to
the
be
Wind.
canceled.
It's easy to
Like
cancel
that's what
Roseanne because we wasn't watching Roseanne.
exactly. So things that are easy that we don't care about, we're going to cancel it quickly because we don't care about it. It doesn't affect our everyday life. Like Power doesn't affect our everyday life, but we enjoy the show.
no, I've
Mhm.
never
If
watched
you,
it, so I don't enjoy it.
No, it's a good
but
show.
that's you.
But
But that's you. You're one of millions.
right.
So
But
most of us watch it because
I can
it's a
stop
good
watching
show.
the show.
Anybody can stop watching, but it's a good show, so we keep watching it. We don't think about him being a part of it. We watch it because it's a good show. It has a good story, well, somewhat good storyline. I'm trying to see where it goes this year. But
Ron don't care about.
if it's,
At
you said what?
all.
He don't care about killing nobody. He's like,
No,
I'm
you
back.
know why?
All your
Okay,
trash,
I'm gonna be honest.
all
You
your
know why I don't really care
things.
about canceling people? Because we cancel people that we think are easy to cancel. We don't cancel the hard people. Like I don't listen to R. Kelly anymore.
I don't either.
Period.
I don't either.
Absolutely do not listen to R. Kelly anymore. Because for the simple, and I love a lot of his songs. They were on my breakup list. They was on my happy list. They play on my family reunions, all that other stuff. I don't do it because I can't sit here and see all these documentaries and people talk about the stuff that you've done through the years to them. And being a black man that don't have children at this time, but may have a daughter at some point and expect things to be okay when you've done things to other people's daughters for so long.
Young
But
underage.
I
you can support someone that puts out someone's daughter in a sex tape.
All
I
right.
mean, we
I got a
still
question
support
for
Ray
you.
J. We support a lot of people that
I don't.
got sex
Who
tapes.
supports Ray J?
Oh, we'll let Ray J get into this, but
A
Hey,
lot of people
Ricky
got
made the
a lot of
talk.
people got sex. A lot of
Ricky made
people
the
got sex
podcast.
tapes.
yeah, the sex tape is not the problem. The sex tape
Right.
is not the problem. But I wanted to ask you guys: is it fair to? Because we're just talking about 50 Cent did a bunch of stuff in the past that he should have been canceled for. We talked about R. Kelly. We talked about Bill Cosby. Is it fair to try to cancel something for someone for something they did in the past? Example: Kevin Hart
Kevin Hart.
tried to get it canceled because something he said, I think it was like 7 years ago. It was some homophobic 7 years ago about his son. I think it was his son. He didn't want his son to be gay. But they canceled him for something he did 7 years ago. Is that fair?
I think it depends on what happened after, like in between that time.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure. I don't know with the Kevin Hart situation. I don't really care for him in the first place. But I don't know if he ever like it was ever brought up and he ever actually like discussed it and like either explained what he was saying, why he was saying it, and apologized to people that he may have offended. Now, if he did do that, I think
No, he
it's
didn't
different.
apologize.
I
Well, he
think it's
said,
different, but
Well, it was he made a homophobic remark in a joke 7 years ago. They brought it up when he was going to host the Oscars or something like that.
they brought it back up. Yes.
Right.
They
He
restarted
said he wasn't going to apologize at first,
and
and then
then
he
went on a tour
backtracked
apologizing.
and
okay, now I
apologized.
remember. Okay,
Right. So
that's a problem.
if we're if,
Actually, I don't.
if we're going to bring up something from 7 years ago, especially a comedian, we got to cancel a lot of fucking comedians.
First of all, we got to cancel all of us. Like,
Ourselves. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah.
I was saying that Kevin Hart, it wasn't as a bad thing back then. So to sit here and
Right.
judge everybody on what they did 7 years ago, I was with him that he shouldn't apologize. I was with them because he has grown from that, and he said he's grown from that. He doesn't
Yep.
talk like he's like, I'm not gonna apologize for who I was 7 years ago. Look at me now. Now he's been supportive of the gay community. He hasn't said anything offensive. I agree that he shouldn't have apologized, but then he went on a tour apologizing. So go ahead.
I'm with you, Daryl.
You know,
He shouldn't apologize.
Yeah, you should apologize. And you should also explain that you've grown from it, because that's just like, okay, so then, you know, people shouldn't apologize for slavery because it happened 100 and something years ago. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. If you think that you can make a statement back in 2017 or 2007 or whatever the hell it was, and think that you shouldn't apologize because it's offensive to someone, a group of people, just because you've grown from it, like, that's
So do you
I
want
don't.
the apology or
Okay,
you
I don't think he's saying the apology as in like not say I'm not sorry for what I said. It's the apology tour that he went on that was like, yo, you didn't have to do all this. Yes, you could have said, I'm sorry, I grew from this. I don't think like that anymore. I don't make jokes like that anymore. And this is where I'm at. Either you're going to accept me for who I am now, or you're going to keep me, or you're going to remember what I did 7 years ago when everybody was intolerant or ignorant about certain aspects of life. He went on a begging tour is what the problem was. He went on a complete begging tour trying to get back on the Oscars. And that's not what he should have done. He should have said, fuck you. Either you're going to accept me for who I am now. And yes, I do apologize for what I said in the ignorant comment 7 years ago about a comment of me about a joke that was insensitive to a community. But don't do the begging tour. That was not necessary.
Right.
Am I wrong, Daryl?
No, you're right in that.
I disagree with that, and this is why I disagree, because it's an art, the art form. If we were to go back and look at every comedian based off of what they say on stage, whether gay, straight, black, white, whatever, as a comedian, your intent is to look at life from a perspective of saying things that may be a little bit taboo or risque. And
it's a shock value.
so this is my point. If we're gonna open up the can of Kevin Hart and try to crucify him for all his transgressions, then we need to be like that across the board for everybody. So my problem,
so
and my point is, and I guess that's my issue with cancel culture.
I was gonna bring Eddie Murphy up. Eddie Murphy actually said that it's cringy for him to listen to his first stand-up because he's grown as a person. We were watching Players Club. Me and my wife were watching Players Club the other day. And the scene where Ebony's about to get raped, like we skipped that scene. Now is so cringy that I can't watch that scene anymore. And I just say, like, people, we have grown as people. So to sit here and judge us on what we did almost 10 years ago, it's crazy. Like you said, Char, you're going to open Pandora's box because all of us were different 10 years ago. So yes, he should initially apologize and say, I have grown from this. Apologize to whoever I offend. I've grown for this, but you don't need to go on this apology tour about
that was
he could have kept it.
We're saying that you need to acknowledge what you did say, and then you, if it's brought up, don't say, "Oh, well, I'm not apologizing." Yes, you should.
But his words weren't that he wasn't apologizing. He did say he was sorry for the remarks that he made, but it was 7 years ago, and he has grown from then. That's where he should have cut it off at. Just cut it right there.
Look at the intent behind it. There was intent behind it because he was doing something very progressive in terms of hosting the Oscars. The reason why they brought that up, not because they truly was concerned about the gay community or they were concerned about someone's progression of the gay community. It was totally with the intent to make him look like a horrible person or a person that he may not be. So sometimes we use, now granted, we all grow as people and we all should be apologetic for the stuff we've done in the past, but it should not be used as ammunition by the other side to try to stop us from progressing as a people. And that was the problem with that situation I had a problem with. It was not for the intent to make anything better. It was totally for the intent to bring him down.
But he's not that great of a person. He's not that great of a person, period. He was constantly.
So he's that great.
A lot of other things. Aside from that statement.
What's up?
Huh? Oh, with all the cheating and all of that, he was not that great of a person.
We're gonna base it off cheating. I read his book. His book is is fantastic. If you're gonna base off cheating, man, there's a lot of people on that list that.
I know
Yeah,
that.
you have to cancel
I'm
like
just saying,
everybody.
it's not, I'm not like, don't try to paint him out to be some stand-up person. He's not a fucking stand-up
No,
person.
But nobody's a stand up
That's all I'm
person.
saying. That's all I'm
Nobody's
saying.
perfect.
But
I
the
Nobody's
same
know
perfect.
is not
that.
a bad person either.
I know that. I'm just
Right.
saying, like, don't try to paint him out as like this perfect. He's not. And I mean, he has
But
faults. And if those are brought up, then you
but
talk
you don't
about them.
think that
And you move
our
on.
society try to paint everyone as perfect at this point? Because what's the point of cancel culture? If everybody wasn't be treated as being able to be flawed, then there wouldn't be a cancel culture to begin with. The whole point of cancel culture, in a sense, is for us to try to call out people for mistakes that they may be apologetic for, but we don't have the capacity to forgive anyone for what they do. So that's why this cancel culture goes off the rails, because there are some people who are truly unapologetic and don't care what they say and what they do, in comparison to some people who truly are sorry and remorseful for what they do, but we don't have the capacity to forgive those people, and we treat everyone the same into one box, and that's why the cancel culture sometimes.
All right, so I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask this one last question. We're gonna get out of here. This is a great topic. This is probably the only topic we have actually argued. I want to get you a little bit of my life. So my brother, I have a brother we're 10 months apart. We do not speak. We do not communicate with each other. He, and I think it boils down to my relationship with my dad. He doesn't want it, and I have a relationship with my dad, so that put a division on us. I talked to him one time, and I was like, "You need to forgive our dad." And he was like, "Why?" And I said, because you're going to do something as a parent, because we're not perfect. You're going to do something as a parent that you want forgiveness for. So how the hell you going to want forgiveness for something, but you can't give forgiveness? So that's a lot of things with this cancel culture is if we do something we're going to want forgiveness for, we're going to want to be sorry for, but we can't give it to other people. So my question to you guys is, with this show growing, are you guys afraid that something will happen? Somebody will dig up your past. You will accidentally say something that will get y'all canceled. Shaw, I want to go with you first because you are probably going to be the main one that gets us canceled. So, man, it's probably going to be wrong. But
I mean, at this point, if we were to grow to a point that I would I wouldn't care, because if I say something offensive in the past, I would be more than willing to say that was me in the past. I've grown to a different type of person, and I'm accountable for my words and actions. But to try to change, I think I'm at the point where I've gone through so much stuff at this point in my life. I can't be concerned about me moving forward in my life and being concerned with someone being offended by anything that I do, or me trying to change myself to try to appease someone else. So as long as I'm genuine and true to myself and genuine to the person I'm trying to become, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think I'll be good.
all right, what about you, EJ?
I think for me, I mean, if I offended someone, I have no issue with listening and hearing them out. So I don't feel like there would be an issue with me being able to like level set with them, tell them where I was at, and then if they're offended, apologize. I'm likely probably would have grown or changed since that time frame if it's like years down the line. But I mean, I don't.
You body shamed me a couple of months ago.
I body shamed everyone.
So
I
that's
body
cool.
shamed myself.
So body shaming is cool.
And I don't, and you know that's fine.
All right, so everything is off limits but body shaming. Raw, what about you?
I just don't care.
That's why I say you would be the one that gets us. That would get us
Like, it's like, okay, so my thing is the problem with cancel, the whole cancel thing is we don't allow people to give people the chance to explain what may have been going on at that time or where they were in life or where they are now. We just
Mhm.
jump on them and cancel them. Be like, we heard this. I don't care what context it was taken in, what context you said it in. Fuck it. You cancel. I don't care enough about people.
Obviously,
Hey,
with out and Kanye, with your Yeezys on.
You
I
don't
don't care
care,
enough.
period. You don't
I don't
care at
care.
all. You're just gonna do what the fuck you want to do anyway.
the
So,
crazy part of the
Yeah,
short argument But Raw is he'll sit there and make these statements, profound statements about 50 cents and Gucci, but he'll say like, "I got a pair of Gucci's and I want some Yeezys." I'm like, okay, you
I
just
do.
To watch Power.
heard
Um,
it yourself.
I am about one. You know, you understand? It's like, okay, this happens now. We're gonna be all upset about it, and then what?
yeah, but that's why I posed. But that's why I posed the question on Facebook. What and I guess I told Shard maybe I did it wrong because maybe people didn't understand. But that was my saying. I was like, if we're gonna upset, what is the next step of us being upset?
And that's the problem. We don't ever have a next step.
Right,
That's the thing. And it's like I look at things. I look at things and be like, okay, yeah, this happened, but what do you want me to do with it now? So where are we gonna go together in
right,
this aspect?
right,
What is the alternative that you want to have?
right.
Give me an option.
So I mean, but my thing with cancel culture, and this is why I don't fear being canceled. I think a lot of people think like me, but the problem is a lot of people don't change their mind. They're just not talking about it. Like a lot of
Right.
people just shut the hell up, and a lot of people don't discuss certain things. Usually, if you don't see somebody talking about something, you already kind of know their belief. Like people are not changing their racist views, they're not changing their homophobic views, they're not changing anything. They're basically just not talking about it. It's just not coming out. So, am I afraid to be canceled? No, because I think a lot of, in my viewpoints, a lot of black males of what I've said, kind of think like me. And if I don't say things to try to offend people off top, so my intention is never to offend anybody. So I think just like Shar said, if I'm going to be pure in what I'm saying, now I'm going to listen to, just like you just said, I'm going to listen to anybody, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to try to, I'm going to apologize if I offend somebody. I'm also going to clarify what I was trying to say to hopefully we get an understanding. But I just think we're all older. Nobody's mind is changing here. We're not going to change people's minds, and I don't know. I just don't worry about it. I think maybe if I'm younger, I'll probably worry about being canceled, but I'm like my future. I think I'm now that is like, no, I don't personally worry about it.
I think you
So
should take the Dave Chappelle approach and just name your price upfront. And if it gets too pricey, then walk away from it. I think
Dave
that's
Chappelle handled it exactly how people kind of should handle it. His comedy special, he had a lot of people, especially the trans community, attack him for it.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it's entertainment. It's comedy. I listened to his special. I'm of course not trans though, but I didn't find anything to be super offensive. And it's like he was like, "This is entertainment. This jokes." He made fun of everybody. Everybody got it. So he's probably one of the best ways to handle those situations if your intention is not to offend.
And this is why I like Family Guy.
Yeah,
Family
yeah.
Guy makes fun of
Everybody.
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 Everybody gets it. There's no immunity. Everybody gets it. I don't care who you are.
Right.
Everybody gets it. They make a joke about everybody. And that's the thing that keeps it level. Nobody's immune to it. Nobody's higher. Nobody can sit aside and be like, oh, well, they're not talking about me. Yeah, we talk about everybody.
Yep. South Park, same way. South Park, everybody gets it.
But isn't that true equality at the end of the day where everybody can get these jokes? You know what I'm saying?
Everybody can get these jokes off. Yes. EJ, any
Yeah.
parting words?
No, I don't. I just don't agree. I think that I just think that society as a whole, when you talk about the LGBTQ community, isn't on the same page. So joking about it, especially when people don't really understand it, is to me not something that you should be doing. But to each his own.
I have a question though, EJ. If somebody make a joke about a white person or a black person, will you laugh?
I mean, yeah, like, what's your point?
So you're saying the trans community is off limits? LGBT?
I'm saying that people don't understand it enough to be making a joke. Like the people that are making jokes about it don't even understand or accept it. So it's not at the end of the day just a joke.
So you don't think like, how would you know if like
I
Family
don't,
Guy doesn't?
I don't think Dave Chappelle knows a thing about being transgender at all, period. So to joke about it, how do you joke about something and make light of it if you're not even, like, that's not, also don't think that he would support it. So for me,
Well,
like, if you're not, you're
we
not
don't
an advocate, you're not a supporter, you don't understand it, then you joking about it is kind of like,
we don't know that. We don't know his stance on it.
but I'm, okay.
No,
I'm just
I
saying,
got interest in this.
We could
Like,
probably ask him. I'm gonna say. I don't
Adam,
know, this is an assumption, and I'm just gonna assume.
Yeah, at Dave Chappelle.
ask him.
I'm gonna go talk to him and tell him to come on the podcast. But I'm
At
just
Dave
saying,
Chappelle.
for most black people, or especially most black men, and the whole subject of transgender, they have no clue, and most typically would not support. So I honestly can't. For me, I can't fathom unless he says something different. And if he does, he talks about it in a different light, I will come on the podcast and I will apologize for my statement.
I'm about to research it right now.
Okay?
So I have a question though. So in the future, if 20 years down the road, do you see equality as everyone being able to joke on everybody, or does it always have to be where it's still going to be separate? If once everybody get an understanding of everything.
I think that if we can learn to incorporate marginalized people in the discussion and into society as accepted, I think it becomes a different conversation. But I think right now, especially when you talk about transgender women that are being killed by police and left on the side of the road, killed by black people, killed in hoods, killed just for being who they are, I think it's a completely different thing right now. So it could change in years down in the past, and they become more accepted. I mean, not that everyone has to agree with that lifestyle, but be accepting of people being people, period.
Yeah. But I think that's the problem, and that's what gets me to my point, and then we'll close it on here, is that people haven't changed their minds. They just don't talk about it. And we don't even have a forum that people can, we can sit here and say, we can have a discussion about this, because as soon as we have a discussion about it, somebody says something they don't like, the cancel word gets brought out, transphobic or homophobic, those words get brought out. Instead of us having a genuine conversation. Genuine is a great example of that, where he didn't want to kiss a transgender woman, and then he got attacked. Well, why don't you want to kiss her? And he didn't. But we can't have a genuine conversation to move the culture forward. And to me, until we can do that, until we can just talk, even if you have opposing views, and try to move this culture forward, we will always be here. So, I don't know. I don't even know if we got to a ending about cancel culture.
We didn't.
We did just a lot of arguing, which is great, because I think this is the first one that we kind of argued about it. But yeah, that's it for me. You guys got any last parting words?
But I think the fact that we argued about it kind of speaks to where we are as a culture about cancel culture, because there is no one set rule or agreement about what cancel culture is, or what should be canceled and shouldn't be canceled.
Right. Right. So,
I'm just gonna steal a quote from Fargo because I like the quote, and I think I told you already, Daryl, the quote. They said on there, they say, if America is a country of immigrants, what does it truly mean to be American?
Yes, you did tell me that. Yes, and that's a dope quote.
Great job, Alden. I'm so proud of you.
Great job.
Hey man, I love Fargo. Fargo's a great. Fargo season 4 is the only Fargo I've seen so far, but it's great.
And
you love Fargo, and you only watched one season.
Yeah, because apparently none of the seasons connect anyway, so I could jump to season 4. But the reason why I'm watching season 4 is because it really shows the dynamic of America in a small town of mobsters, where you have the Italians going against the black mob. And you see the disparity where it comes from the culture, as everybody talking about, we're being looked upon as being downtrodden, but we still don't like each other. So it's actually pretty good.
We're also spokesperson for Fargo, which
season 4, only season 4,
Season
4 with Chris Rock.
Well, let's talk about things that will help us. Sorry, you want to do our social media accounts?
Alrighty, I can do this.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, follow us at Instagram at Less of a Man Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Less of a Man. On Facebook, on YouTube at Less of a Man Podcast. On Anchor. I think that's it. That's everything. So we're good. On Spotify, we have Spotify.
This is every week.
I get it. Look here, we have a lot of platforms. So I need to write it down before I come on. So yeah.
That's what I thought you were gonna do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he said last week for you.
Yeah.
For practice, and
Oh.
you didn't practice.
Look in the link. Look in the link below. The link below.
All right. Last time
Did
you
you say
said the
YouTube?
link below, there wasn't a link below.
Huh?
Did you say YouTube? I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
Not
you
on
said YouTube.
YouTube.
did you put our
Did you
website?
say?
I did say YouTube. I did.
Did you put our website?
Oh, www.lessofamanpodcast.com.
what at?
Ah,
Just right. Just
www.lessofamanpodcast.com.
you are terrible at this.
Yeah.
just write it
Like I
down for
said,
next week.
this is a lot. We have a lot.
All right, so that will do it for us for this episode. Y'all be great.